Impala Restoration, Part 9, the deconstruction. Hey, hit that like and subscribe and notification bell. Here's where we left off on the last video, complete floor installation. Now we're going to move on to the deconstruction of the rest of the back half. Here's a shot of the quarter panels. The usual rust, some body filler, plus this vehicle had been in a collision from the rear. You can see the left-hand quarter panel there. Still has the pressure buckles. Okay, now moving inside. Upper trunk, lower trunk, tail panel, trunk drops, and just FYI, that weather stripping channel does not come on the new tail panel or quarter panels. Okay, so now we're going to make a couple of stanchions to locate the rear body mount. And that's just going to be for future reference. And we want to make sure everything is right. Still saying start square, stay square, end square. And we always want to double check what we've done. Want to have the same height. Don't want that thing twisted. Okay, we are good to go on that. Now before we do any cutting, we always want to look on the inside of the panel we are going to cut. So we don't cut through braces, cut through something that's going to be difficult or expensive to replace or repair later. Okay, now I am just tracing out a rough cut line. And we want to go above any panels. In this case, that would be the outer wheel well. We don't want to cut into that. We don't know the shape of it completely yet. And like I mentioned, this is just called a rough cut. Get the majority of the metal out of the way. And we're going to make short work of it using a plasma cutter. And the plasma cutter does not do well through body filler. And there that is. Okay, this is just for safety's sake, so we don't have a long panel we're dealing with or fall off. We're going to cut that thing in half. Take out the front section and then the rear section. Much more manageable. I get paid to repair, not to get hurt on the job. And here's a look. You can see why we cut where we cut. No damage to the inside. Hey, everything looks really good on this on the interior here. We're not going to have any additional rust issues like with the inner quarter panels. Anything like that. We didn't cut our brace. Okay, now I have laid out tape because I want to make a much straighter cut now. And you might be asking, well, why are you cutting this twice? Okay. With the body panels parts that are available today, they may not be made just right. And I don't want to remove this entire quarter panel because as of right now, I have the perfect openings and their factory openings around the trunk and at the door jamb. And then I'm going to assess those replacement parts, like say the quarter panel, and if it doesn't look like it's made correctly, well, we're going to do something besides cut the entire thing off. We'll run into problems that way. Okay, Lower trunk removed. Or I should say cut out. And now it's removed. Rule of thumb, always, never break. Do not throw parts away until the entire vehicle is completed or the work you've done. Because there will always be a little bracket or something that you'll miss. And now I cut this out. I wanted to preserve this door opening, the fuel door opening, and then I blew it up there. So, and these are some of the parts I'm talking about. Yeah, we want to pull out those covers. They're in good shape. And now this is the upper trunk deck, and we want to preserve that cover there, that bracket, brace, whatever you want to call it. So we drilled out the spot welds, and now we're going to carefully separate those panels. Yeah, this metal's pretty thin in here, so I want to take care. And we've moved our other brace up to this position, so we'll have full access. And you can see I still have a stanchion on the main brace underneath, plus extending out to the rockers. Now we're going to remove that upper trunk. And we've already looked inside to make sure we're not cutting too low. And it really helps if you just put like a soapstone mark, something like that, as a guide, especially if you're using like a plasma cutter. It gets hard to see. Now there's a brace under here, so we're going to cut through that. And there it is. And we're going to get this upper trunk out of the way. Now what I'm showing you here, that weather strip gutter right there, when this car was in a rear collision, the deck lid must have really overextended, and that bent the hinges. Now these are the original hinges that come out of the vehicle, sitting next to a set of replacement stock hinges that aren't damaged. So let's take a look at what we have. And why I'm showing you this, it's hard to judge just by eyeballing something. Okay, you can see there's obvious damage there. Yeah, we know that one needs to be replaced. But the other hinge, it looks pretty good. Now, like I said, these hinges are from an undamaged vehicle. And let's see what happens when we set the one that looks good next to a control. Yeah. So if you're having problems aligning things, well, that could be an issue. Okay, now for sure the outer wheel well is going to be replaced. There's a little bit of damage on the inner. I haven't figured out how I want to approach that yet, but I do know that the outer is scheduled for replacement. And so we're doing the rough cut on that. And we never want to get too aggressive cutting panels apart. We want to make sure that they are supported. We want to make sure we're not cutting into things that shouldn't be cut into, or destroying things, damaging things. And here is that little brace that we took care with earlier. So we're drilling out the resistance wells. And now we're going to carefully come in with the air hammer and separate that bracket from the outer wheelhouse. Yeah, there's a little deformation, but we'll come back and straighten out that mounting flange. Okay, here's a little trick for you. This has the undercoating. Now we turn our air hammer all the way down. Sometimes this doesn't work. Most of the times it will, because it's become brittle over time. Now if I had rounded off the corners of the air hammer chisel, there wouldn't be any marks, any telltale marks left. Now these little skip marks that you see in the bare metal, yeah, those will go away really easily. But turning down the air hammer, getting at the right angle, that stuff will just chip off so easy. And this is the easiest way I've ever found to remove that. Okay, so let's get the rest of that outer wheelhouse removed. Sometimes you should drill out the resistance wells. About 90% of the time I don't. I'm able to use the air hammer with a special chisel bit, and I can separate that without damaging any of the adjoining panels. It's so much quicker, faster, easier. And the main thing when using this method is patience and angle. And you can almost separate any resistance weld. And if you can do that without having to drill out the resistance weld, well, now you don't have a hole to deal with later when you affix the new outer wheel well to the center. That's a huge plus. Huge. Yeah, we'll just peel that thing back. Now this is something I haven't really encountered before. Okay, all those little divots, those are where the factory used a machine to resistance weld the upper deck to the inner wheelhouse. But they missed. They should be on that flange. Completely missed the mark. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, it's kind of odd. And now we're just deconstructing the lower part of the quarter panel from the rocker flange. And if the entire resistance weld doesn't come off cleanly, well, we just come back and hit it with a grinding disc or wheel. And now I'm straightening up that flange. There was a little bit of damage there. And now we're going to work on that passenger side, getting the trunk drop removed, the rest of the trunk pan. Now we're kind of held up on the right hand quarter panel, the replacement piece. Like I said in other videos, replacement parts are becoming very difficult to get in a timely manner. You can see the damage, but I do not want to remove that quarter panel until I know that I'm getting another replacement. Okay, now this is the upper trunk deck, and these are a couple of items that we want to cut off and transfer to the new, because it does not come with these. And I'm cutting it out a little bit bigger That way, I don't need the entire upper trunk to remember where to place those items. Using those indentions, that'll let me know where to place it when I overlay it onto the new upper deck. And now I can discard that big piece, get it out of the shop. That way I'm not getting tripping over it, getting cut by it, just reducing the amount in the shop. And on this filler piece, well, that pretty much goes in one spot, so not as critical. And there it is. That's what we have done. We're going to start in the upcoming videos of replacing everything that we had just removed. Well, actually, the next step, we're going to finish out any straightening, any scabbing off of parts, getting them prepped, ready. Then we're going to come back with POR 15, and then we'll start assembling. Everything's going really well. Yeah, a little bit of damage there on the inner we're going to repair. Hey, stay tuned for part 10. And as always, thanks for watching.